उसको तो पानी दीजिए, उसको उधर करो क्लास स्टार्ट करो, पानी दीजिए। Good evening to all. Good evening to everybody. Is my voice audible to everybody? Okay. So hi, our today's class is on the topic event management, and we are going to see how an event is an event is planned, what are the challenges that we face while planning an event, what about their audio visual effects, how do we analyze the site inspection, the production schedule, anticipation, and everything. So it's all how we plan any event. So event can be a team meeting, a corporate team meeting, a marriage, organizing a birthday. So all these are events. So how things works in an event management, we are going to see in today's class. I have uploaded two PDFs here. So we're going to see this one by one. But before that, let's have a little bit look. I have one video for you on that. Let me play that video first. Then we will have a discussion on this topic, event management.
Hello students, welcome to the lecture on Introduction to Event Management. And after this lecture, we will be able to learn the following objectives. Understand the concept of event management, discuss the organizational structure for the event, explain the event design and concept, explain the importance of event management, discuss the types of event, understand the evaluation of event, define the qualities of event manager, explain the role of event management companies, explain the scope of event management and event management services. Event management is a process by which an event is planned, prepared and produced. As with any other form of management, it encompasses the assessment, definition, acquisition, allocation, direction, control and analysis of time, finances, people, products, services, and other resources to achieve objectives. An event manager's job is to oversee and arrange every aspect of an event, including researching, planning, organizing, implementing, controlling, and evaluating an event's design, activities, and production. Sponsorship of events in particular can be especially effective as a marketing tool because it can be a means of assessing a wide range of audiences such as decision makers in business, government entities, and of course customers. It can be particularly beneficial for companies that take part in international trade because sponsorship transcends cultural and language barriers.
Everybody enjoy this video on event management. Everybody, I think the basics are clear on the event management. That event management is a very vast field and it's a proper field of study. Event management, how you plan, how you organize teams, how you bring the physical assets, how you manage them, how you move from one location to another location, how do you decide a timeline, how do you satisfy your stakeholders. So these are all the part of event management. So event management can be anything, can be organizing a corporate seminar, can be organizing some corporate events, can be organizing a wedding, can be organizing a birthday, it can be anything. Any questions, any doubts, anybody wants to ask anything? Any questions, anybody? Sanobar, Sahir, Kelvin, Mohammed, Ajit? Any questions, anybody? Is my voice audible to all? Okay, now let's get on to another video. It's a case study basically.
Бегу, дорогам нет конца. Огромный мир замкнулся для меня. Барелый круг и маску без лица. Я шут, я Арлекин, я просто смех. Без имени и в общем без судьбы. Какое право дело вам до тех, над кем пришли повеселиться вы? Арлекино, Арлекино, нужно быть смешным для всех. Арлекино, Арлекино, есть одна награда — смех. Выходят на арену силачи, не ведая, что в жизни есть печаль. Они подковы гнут, как калачи, и цепи рвут движением плеча. И рука плещет восхищенный зал. И на арену к ним летят цветы. Для них, играя в тушь, горят глаза, а мною заполняют перерыв. Арлекино, нужно быть смешным для всех. Арлекино, есть одна награда — смех.
So this video is basically a case study on event planning. How we plan an event, what are the, creating a stage, inviting children, their parents, organizing dinner, lighting, sound, effects, cartoonists, etc. So these are all the part of the planning process. So how you, at what time, what thing happen, what is the dinner time, what is the music playing time, all these, planning all these things is the, how you plan an event. So this is how you decide a time factor. Time factor is also important. Suppose you are planning an event and you have 2 hours with you. So in 2 hours you have to organize, you have to engage people, you have to find out different ways how you can make people so that people can engage with each other. So this is how you plan an event. Okay? Clear to all? Everybody? It's clear to all? I'm not getting any response from Sanobar, Sahir, Kelvin. Okay, now let's go on to another video.
For me, I know nothing else. This is in my blood. Sound, stage, lights, concerts every week. Motivational type speaking. As far as DVT Marketing Enterprise, I'm the guy. If you look at my business card, I have no titles because in my mind, it's about a team. We're a full-service marketing and communications firm, from events to strategy, tapestry segmentation to targeting your audience, really getting down and making decisions based on data and not just what I think or what I want. Established in 1983, we've been in Southern California since '83. I'm going to talk just in general terms, tips from the real world, and I'm going to show you some real-world examples of some actually recent projects. What is a special event? There's all kinds of different events. You have your for-profit events, you have these luncheons, you have venues that are trying to host events, so their strategy is going to be a little bit different. So like I said, we do some really outside the box stuff. We just did the California State Arm Wrestling Championship up in the high desert. Here was a job fair that we did at Victoria Gardens, 20 by 20 exhibit space, so we're talking exhibits traveling all the way across the country. This is at the hangar at San Bernardino International Airport just recently. So it's taking a blank slate and creating an environment or something that's memorable. This is outside of the Auto Club Speed Week. When we get down to the core of this, it's about process. If you understand the process and pull the right people to the table, that's when you could do anything you want. When it comes to events, in my mind, there's 3 different components. You got the planning side, the implementation and control side, and the post-event side. The planning, these events take hundreds, even thousands of hours. I don't know if anybody really understands that, and ideally you're laying the infrastructure for future events. So the build up on the pre-event planning, it's going to be huge because you have your team, you're pulling your team, trying to communicate, manage the project. On the planning side, event overview, figure out what your event segments are, figure out the goals and objectives. That's huge. Why do anything without goals and objectives? Hopefully an event is part of your overall marketing strategy. Implementation and control management is key. You can't pull any of this stuff together if you don't have the right communication and management. And then the post-event, you got to do the follow-up. You got to address the positive and negative. You have to adjust the model for future projects. If you're thinking big picture, there's going to be very heavy in the planning process. You have to get everybody on board and ingrained into their head. Ultimately, they'll become brand advocates. Set milestones that we can actually accomplish. Always over-deliver. You don't want to come in under what you're supposed to be doing. Be realistic, set realistic goals and objectives, and you'll have a successful project every time. What is the #1 key to a special event? At the core of everything, if you're not communicating, you're not getting anything done, in my opinion. So let's see how that breaks down. Venue like we're right here, logistics, how are you going to get people in here? the media community outreach that they've done, security, audio, video, designer, food, all of that is meaningless unless you have communication at the core. Not only communication, a lot of people have the passion, the willingness, the wanting to help, but here's the thing right here. Main point of contact. If you don't have a single main point of contact that knows everything anytime, then you're in trouble. You have the team, you have to empower the team to help pull off any project. We're running teams of hundreds of people over here, but if you don't have a person at the core of this thing to make it happen, it's not going to happen. The venue guys aren't going to be talking to the food guys, audio guys aren't going to be talking to the security guys, and vice versa. And this is a short list. This first meeting, identify a main point of contact and stick with that main point of contact and trust them. So communication is at the core of everything I do on a daily basis. Main point of contact, from my experience, needs to be taking those notes, and not only taking the notes, but communicating them immediately to the team so everybody's on the same page, everybody has next steps, everybody has their task list, and they know what they're going to expect the next time they come into the room. So you're not wasting staff time, and you're getting closer to reaching those goals and objectives to have a successful event. You have to be extremely organized. So what we do, we have an online project management system. If the main point of contact uses it, phenomenal, because you build your team, open, transparent communication, create a playbook. The playbook is the culmination of the communication, the outreach, the goals and objectives that you're going to use to make that event silky smooth come the day of. And that's your foundation for future projects. Just to give you an idea of extreme organization and the fact that this stuff takes hundreds, even thousands of hours. This is a recent project, the state of the county, that was just at Millionaire Hangar at SVIA. I had 467 files and 199 folders. The advertisements to the e-marketing, to the fact sheet, to the food, to the map, to the playbook. As far as the organization, if you can't get to the file and find your answer in 1 minute or less, not only you, the team. That's why you take these files and upload them to the project management system, organize them in such a way that anybody can answer the question. It's not a me thing, it's a we thing. The mapping, if you could take a map, get a screenshot, whatever you can do to help communicate to your team the logistics, do it. And you'll notice, for our playbooks, they're always bound. I know a lot of people have the playbooks where you have the clips in it. If you have the clips in it, in my mind, I'm not saying clips are a bad thing, but in my mind, on the planning process, you came up a little bit short. Because if you're on site and you're unclipping stuff and putting new documents in because they're not updated, there's a little bit of a problem. I sleep really, really well the night before an event because I have no worries. I know my entire team has this playbook, not only hard copy, but electronically. We provide a PDF, everything in there, all tabbed out, you can navigate it. We're just providing the tools so we could be seamless and successful. You're planning site to get to this point, hundreds of hours. And we have pre-planning meetings and teams and debrief meetings pre and post event. So we field all those questions and acclimate everybody to the situation they're about to get themselves into. But they all have access to this playbook. What's the secret weapon in event planning? Trust the experts. Here's the deal. I'm an expert in process, I'll say. So when you're coming in there, you trust the experts, you listen. First meeting, here's the agenda. I'm not telling the frog jumping coordinator how to run a frog jumping contest. We're listening and take notes, but we are an expert at the process of the implementation and the communication and the management of anything you want to do. Process is king. Trust your team. Empower your team. If they're part of the team, even though you're the main point of contact, you can't do it by yourself. When it comes to team, if you have the wrong person in this group, we're all positive, proactive, we're making the right decisions, and you have one person in this room that's not on that same page, they're going to decompress this whole operation. So if you don't have the right people in the right positions, the right volunteers, the right paid staff, whatever the case may be, you have to select the right team, and you have to trust the team. Open and regular communication keeps them on task and on track. Establish brand awareness. Be consistent in your messaging. The way you take your branding and you diversify the outlets consistently, that's what you want to do. So from your letterhead to your shirts to the on-site signage, fully packaged, tight, clean every single time. Utilize every available outlet from your resources. If we come into a situation, we could project manage it, but in order to decrease some expenses, leverage the print shop, leverage the people in the corner that want to do something, but you've got them handcuffed. Let them out. You'd be surprised. Definitely leverage those resources. Utilize every outlet. Establish a social media presence. Again, it's just reoccurring. The branding, be seen, get involved. I mean, volunteer, share information. Position yourself as an expert. Get up here, talk, be involved. That'll help increase your brand identity. Implement a mixed media campaign. Your traditional media, your relationship marketing, non-traditional media. But when you're looking at an event as a whole, it's not just the logistics, it's the package. How to save thousands of dollars, a lot of stuff we've been talking about already. Have a plan. If you don't have a plan, if you all aren't going to communicate, you're going to be blowing money all the time. A lot of the I say infrastructure because it's not a one-time thing. You're building the infrastructure up front. It's part of the plan. That way when you roll it out next time, the staff time, the printed, the collateral material, the website, all this stuff, you're going to reduce those expenses up front because you have a solid plan. You just repurpose it the next time. Again, listen to your audience. If you don't know your audience, if you don't listen to your audience, if you don't have that plan that really targets that audience, forget about it. You might as well just do something else. Again, establish realistic goals and objectives. That'll actually keep the event going from a first annual to a 35th annual. So have those realistic goals and objectives, set the foundation and build on that. Don't date on-site media. Whenever you're coming up with your campaigns, kind of general enough that you can kind of reuse them. The restroom signs, the check-in sign, it's just general. Don't make uneducated decisions. It all stems back to communication and team. It's real simple. This isn't rocket science. But at the end of the day, team communication, we all know that. How many people actually use an agenda? How many people actually give those notes back to the team at the end of the day? A lot of the stuff is reoccurring, same things. It's basics. If you actually implement it and understand that it has a powerful impact, then you're doing something.
To the Simplicity Event Planning 101. We in the Student Development Office want you to be as successful as possible when you plan your club events this year. So this video is packed and nearly exhaustive with all the great tips, advice, and requirements you need to know about planning club events at Saddleback. So sit back, get a notepad ready, and feel free to come back to this video or each sectional video each time you're working on an event. In this video, we will go over the definition of an event as it pertains to the Saddleback College's Clubs program, and the step-by-step process of planning an event with or without funding requests, which includes the democratic process, the event planning worksheet, working with your club's faculty or staff mentor, deadlines, a quick overview of budget form, and an in-depth look at the event request form, which will include room assignments, equipment use, bringing food on campus, collecting funds, speakers, VIP parking, publicity, and what to do after your event. So now that I have an active club, I'm able to plan events using Simplicity's event request form. And since I've attended the Budget 101 workshop, I am also able to utilize any funding that my club has by submitting the budget form prior to submitting my event planning form. If you haven't attended the Budget 101 workshop, don't worry. Just go to www.saddleback.edu/clubs to make an appointment for the workshop. You will need to complete the workshop in order to access any funds that your club may have. You'll learn really valuable information, and the bonus, your club will get money added to the ICC account for attending. So what is an event? Within the Saddleback College Clubs program, an event is defined as any activity outside of the club's regularly scheduled meetings. Even a table and a couple chairs out on the quad is an event. An exception to this is if you have a special request for one or more of your regular scheduled meetings, such as additional AV or any purchases the club may wish to make for the regularly scheduled meeting. If this applies to you, you will need to submit either or both of the forms. Event planning itself is an intricate process, both here at Saddleback or anywhere else you might be planning events, now and in the future, trust me, I know. The Student Development Office here at Saddleback has designed the club's program to help you gain useful and valuable experiences outside of the classroom, and event planning totally is. Most of the skills you learn in this program will translate to other venues of your life, and especially your next educational destination. If your club wants to host a festival, fundraiser, public service, or other new event on campus, all you need is an idea and to complete the budget and/or event request forms with any necessary documentation. Though there are multiple steps, once you get the hang of it, it is totally doable. This video will stay up all year, so I totally encourage you to come back to it each time you plan an event during the year, and refresh your knowledge of this process. So now with all the formalities out of the way, I'm going to walk you through the whole process while we plan my club's first event of the year. The step-by-step processes of planning an event. I know that planning an event both requires my entire club pulling together as well as my club mentor. It is to your advantage to not be a one-person or few-person team, but to pull together all of your people resources in order to create and execute a successful event. After all, Who will help me purchase decorations and set up the venue if I don't work with my clubmates? I definitely can't do it alone, and I don't want to either. Including all of your club members in the decision and planning process will make people more likely to participate because they feel invested in the event. Use your meetings to hold discussions and votes regarding all of the event's details. You will already need to hold an official meeting and submit meeting minutes to the Student Development Office via Simplicity when requesting to use club funds, so take advantage of that time. Event Planning Worksheet. Every time I plan an event, I find it really helpful to download and print off the Event Planning Worksheet. This worksheet was developed to help you plan your events during your club's meetings. All of the information on the worksheet directly correlates to the budget and event request forms that you will be completing in Simplicity. I bring the worksheet with me to my club meeting and use it as a check-off list to make sure that we have considered everything that we may need in order to have a complete and successful event. After the meeting, I use it to complete the forms in Simplicity, and I know I will have everything ready to be able to submit the complete forms. Working with your club's mentor. When I plan events, I always make an appointment with my club mentor to go over the event details with her prior to submitting the forms. The college's policy is that if the event is after student development hours, Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. to 8 a.m., or Friday after 12 p.m., including weekends, or off campus at any time, your mentor must be present for the duration of the event during teardown and cleanup. You should always consult with your mentor prior to submitting any of the forms so that when he or she is requested to approve your event, the approval is not held up with questions he or she may have. And of course, do not plan after hours or off-campus events without the agreement that he or she will be present.
Within the Simplicity system, only the designated leadership of a club is permitted to submit budget and event request forms. The leadership represents the wishes of the club members as a whole and therefore represents the club's involvement of each event that is planned by the club. This does not mean that within your club, only the leadership may plan an event. It just means that the leadership must always be involved and must submit the forms on behalf of the club. We are talking about bottom-up leadership. On a side note, if you want to know what that is, you should check out the Leadership Lab that is offered through the Student Development Office.
Okay, so I have completed the helpful worksheet, I have talked with and received verbal approval from my advisor, so now I'm going to move on to submitting the forms. The most important advice I got from the Student Development Office was that I must submit complete forms. So now I'm telling you to make sure that when you submit the forms, you have included everything that is requested by the forms and all details are included that may not have been requested. Forms that have been received which are incomplete cannot be processed. Incomplete forms will be denied and must be resubmitted. Deadlines. I also know that all budget and event request forms must be submitted no later than 2 full weeks prior to my event date, as the Student Development Office must work with several entities within the district to fulfill requests, and each entity has its own deadlines. Because of this, forms submitted less than 2 full weeks in advance cannot be processed. So, if you do not complete all the steps in time, the event date will need to be pushed back in order for the forms to be submitted. The exception to this rule is if I want to have a check up front to pay a DJ or caterer directly. I need to submit my budget form no later than 4 weeks in advance, as that is how long it takes to process checks through the district.
Submit a budget transaction form. If you have attended the Budget 101 workshop, the club's leadership will have access to your club's accounts. If your event needs the use of the club's money, you will need to submit a budget transaction form prior to submitting the event request form. For all the details about your budget, please see the amazingly helpful video, Budget 101. Please note, if you need an advance check to a vendor, you must submit this form and all required documents no later than 4 weeks prior to the date that the check is needed.
Everybody enjoy this video. Are you there? So with this, I think this brings us to the end of our today's class on event management. It's a big elaborative class, and I have covered a lot of contents on event management today. So any questions, anybody wants to ask anything, just go ahead and ask, because there are 45 seconds is left. If you have any queries, any doubts, just go ahead and ask your question. Okay, no questions. So that brings us to the end of our today's class. Hope everybody have enjoyed today's class, and just do give your feedbacks after the class. Thank you all for your time. Take care. Bye bye.